Welcome back to another edition of The Lady Show. We're going to be talking about road rage and the danger that it presents. I am Talia, and I'm here with Exandria, Richard, and Jana. And we're going to be talking about road rage and how it affects people on their daily commute. We do have a special guest today, Richard. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Richard is the director and owner of Confidence Insurance. He is also the owner of RNC Financial Services. He's a tax accountant. He is also a real estate broker and insurance broker. And he also holds a master's degree in business. Mm-hmm. So, road rage. Have you all experienced road rage before?
Of course. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, let me tell you a little bit about what road rage is. Road rage is when a driver becomes irritated. And I know that some of us may have experienced that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we are in a road rage state. And it also is when a driver shows violent behavior. So Richard, tell us a little bit about your experience or your expertise on road rage.
Yes, actually, I will not put it expertise per se, but I would just want to talk about my experience or my own idea, or the fact that as an insurance broker, I've had some of my clients, run into road rage situations. And what I will actually say is that it all stems from anger, and statistics actually show that most of those who are involved in road rage are teenagers. They are mostly in between the ages of 27 and 33. And again, it will be shocking to hear that 96% of those who are involved in road rage are mostly men. So I want to say that it's something that you don't have to take lightly, because what are you doing road rage with? A car is considered a weapon. Yeah, because it's a weapon of death. Yes. Anything can happen with it. It can affect the person actually trying to orchestrate the road rage, as well as it can actually, hurt somebody who was not part of it. So, and one other thing I want our viewers to pay attention to is the fact that know your environment, know where you live, know the type of people that, understand the freeway you drive on. Is it a freeway that this is common? Am I living in a neighborhood where people can commonly orchestrate this? So when you get that understanding of your environment, it kind of gives you a guide. And you have to be very, very observant when you're driving. I just saw this driver from my mirror. He passed 2-3 cars. Another car following. There you have to be very observant, because if you have the opportunity to give way. Because I've had 2 incidents that I personally have witnessed. I was driving on the 60 freeway, and for those who know the 60 freeway in Los Angeles or in Los Angeles County, so I was driving on the 60 freeway, and actually I was on the far left lane. So the only thing that separated me from the other side was the main beam that is always constructed. And you had the little waiting area where, in case of an incident or something happens to your car, you can pull over. I am telling you that I was actually driving on this lane, and I saw 2 cars driving on where cars have to pull over in case of a problem. And these guys were going at a speed of more than 100.
Wow.
I thought I could not go left or right, but everybody just went still.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and these guys just drove past by, and
wow, that's so dangerous.
It was so dangerous. These guys don't know what they get into.
Right.
They don't know what they get into. They can kill somebody.
Or themselves.
And statistics from AAA actually show that more than 1,200 people die in the U.S. in a year as a result of road rage. So this is something we should not take lightly. It's something we have to take very seriously, and we have to pay a lot of attention to.
Yes.
Actually, we are actually touching a topic that something happened to me just 2 days ago as a result of that.
Wow.
Actually, I was driving, and we had an incident whereby a a car was, that is, they were SUVs. A car was actually chasing the other car. I think they were mad at each other. I don't know what was going on. And suddenly something fell off from that car and hit the front, the front part of my car.
Wow.
Fortunately, it was the bottom part. And guess the car was driving. A BMW coupe, a very little car that anything falling off it can easily get to the windscreen.
Wow.
But God was great. My radiator was damaged.
Wow.
And I stopped instantly. So it's something not to take very lightly.
Right. Yeah. So, and despite of you not being actually involved in the road rage, you became a victim of someone else's road rage.
That's exactly what we're talking about. Yeah.
Very common.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, Sandy, tell me a little bit. Have you ever experienced road rage in your driving?
Sadly, I have a few times, especially living here in Los Angeles. There's so many of us, and I get it. You get frustrated. And like you said, if you can give way, just give way.
That's
right.
I
have to take my own advice sometimes. I will admit that. But I was driving one time, and I guess I probably did cut this person off. I didn't notice that I cut this person off, and they were in a big old SUV. I also drive an SUV, but they had a bigger SUV. And I tend to think that bigger cars, for some reason, they're like the bullies on the road, right? And so this person tried to run me off the road. I couldn't believe that it was happening in the moment, because I was like, are you really that mad about this right now that you're trying to kill? Like, you don't know anything about me. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a person, I'm a human being. Like, I can't believe that you would be that enraged. So obviously I wouldn't let, you just let your foot off the gas and go back easily. And then I tried to drive, and then they tried, not again to run me off the road, but they wanted to, the finger and cuss me out. And I was like, are you crazy? Like, you need to take your meds. Something is not right. It can't be that serious. But it was scary. And luckily my kids weren't in the car, because then I think I would have went mama bearish, and it might have ended a little different. But luckily, they just went on about their business finally,
That's insane.
I know.
Right?
It's crazy.
Jana, how would you respond to someone if they were exhibiting road rage against you while you were driving?
Get away from them.
Yeah.
It's scary stuff. A few days ago, my husband and I were coming. We had to take the streets home instead of the freeway, because the freeways were so backed up. And there were two incidences. I remember the cars distinctly. One was a Challenger, and the other was a Charger.
Wow.
And the ones that are all souped up, and they have to gun their motor to show how powerful their car is. And the lanes were backed up even on the street. And yet, if they wanted to change lanes or get somewhere, they were going to give you a nudge to make you move, not paying attention to the fact that you don't have anywhere to go because the lane you're in, it's blocking you in. And I think for me, even before it gets to the rage part, there's so much injury and so much stuff that happens just because of careless driving. Just because of people who are going to get where they're going to get. They have blinders on. They don't care who's on either side. And they want to show what kind of car they're driving.
Right.
You understand what I mean? Which,
That's
who cares about that? Maybe. But I think that what happened to us that particular time is we were sandwiched in, and someone could have injured us severely if the car on this side of us hadn't noticed what was happening and screeched to a stop just in time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yes, as you see, different scenarios in reference to road rage. So we're going to come back. We're going to talk about the signs of road rage and how to deal with those signs and how to just ease driving without road rage. Yes, we'll be back.
Today we're talking about making New Year's resolutions that work. Not the kind that we make them, we might kind of write them down, but 2 or 3 months later we either forgot what they were, we just gave up, they didn't happen fast enough. But we know that New Year's resolutions are something that have become a tradition. And they're when we make promises or we kind of decide what we want the year to look like, what we'd like to achieve, what we might want to live like. Personal goals, professional goals, it doesn't matter. So today we're going to look at and examine some alternative ways that we can set those goals for ourselves with a better chance of making them stick.
I'm guilty.
Okay.
I'm the one who has many resolutions that never came to pass. For one reason, I looked at them as a wish list and not a things to do list.
I love the 30-day challenge. So I love that. I'm like going to implement that.
To get this done, you've got to be driven.
I feel personally, New Year's resolution gives a lot of pressure. I'm going to say for my New Year's resolution, taking the year off.
If you could share with us the difference between alternatives to fasting and the traditional fasting that we might be more familiar with.
Fasting, a lot of people say fasting and praying.
Welcome back to the Ladies Show. I am Talia. This is Exandria. We have Richard and Jana, and we're talking about road rage and the danger that it presents. But before we talk about road rage, we want to encourage you to like, share, and comment below. We want to hear your experiences with road rage and how you dealt with it. So moving forward, Jana had talked about some of the signs of road rage. So I want to just dip in a little deeper in that. So some signs that you may see while you're driving is if the driver is irritated. They could be driving aggressively, speeding, or tailgating. So you want to be very cautious while you're on the road. So the question is, what do you do when you exhibit road rage? So I'll go ahead and have Richard answer that question. What do you do when someone is tailgating you?
I think the most important thing I would suggest any driver do is to get away. Keep that person away. Don't try to be like, because the most important thing is when you're leaving your house, you want to get back home.
Right.
You want to get back home at the end of the day, or you're driving. So in the face of driving, always try to be yourself all the time. Try to be calm. Try to, any incident that tries to push you to any extremes, please don't pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
Just remain who you are. Be calm, and somebody tailgating you, just get out of the way. Give the person the way. And most often, something interesting always happens. Let's say, especially driving on the streets, somebody comes, or the same people who are doing road rage, they come, they zoom, they pass you, or you give them the way. Red light comes up, all of you still find yourselves same spot.
That's right.
So it doesn't matter. It's just stupid.
Right.
Sometimes when you see people probably trying to instigate situations that are unnecessary. And these are people that, road rage, anger is always part of it.
Right.
Yeah, so if you can take control of your anger and always be yourself, I think it will help a lot.
Right. Wow. So in recent studies, they said that road rage had a lot to do with anger. So it's interesting that you said that. And a lot of times road rage stems from outside issues. It has nothing to do with driver. It has a lot to do with the person that's driving. So I don't know if you all ever experienced where people are using like personal gestures. I'm not going to say anything, but a lot of times that makes us upset, and then we're pulled into someone else's universe because they're having a bad day. It automatically makes us have a bad day. So Zandy, how would you deal with road rage if someone was giving you the finger or something?
Well, I'm not going to act like a saint. And it does depend on my mood. Like if I'm not having a bad day and then you give me the finger, I try not to give it back to you, but I am guilty. I have given the finger before. But if my kids in the car, I won't. Especially by myself, because I'm trying to set an example for them. So I try to, like he said, control myself, control my reaction, and just let them go ahead, or even just ignore it. Not even acknowledge it. Sometimes, even like they say with children, even bad attention is good attention for them. Sometimes for drivers, just ignoring them does the trick. Because sometimes you get mad, they get mad, then it becomes this competition. Well, I'm madder than you. Right. Right. So I can make signs too. So then it becomes something, it can morph into something that's not good for anybody. And like you said, at the end of the day, you do just want to make it home. I mean, I hope that's everybody's goal, is to just make it home safely.
Right. Now, I know that we've all been victim of being the road rage aggressor. Jana, have you ever found yourself in a situation where someone cut you off and you were the person that was exhibiting road rage, or just a little bit?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Okay. I confess. because when my husband and I are in the car, he giggles at me because I fuss.
Oh, okay.
I may not do any, they know I'm not going to jump out the car and hurt them, but I'm a fuss. I'm like, what's up with you? Are you serious right now? Wait a minute. So then they're looking at me like, ooh, she's a nut. Okay, get away from her. But it at least, it releases whatever it needs to release to get to the point that you were talking about, where it's kind of, you're being silly, dial it back. It's a waste of energy. Yeah, they did that. You didn't get hurt, so what's the big deal?
Right.
But it feels good when it's kind of like, I can't let that go. You almost took the whole side of my car off.
Right.
What's wrong with you? So I'm not going to say I never have. And I think I'm too afraid. I'm kind of a little chicken. I'm too afraid of what somebody might do. If I was that physical kind of rolling down the window, if they want to show me one of the fingers on their hand, I usually laugh hysterically at them.
Right.
And then they're like, what's wrong with her? Oh, I guess that didn't work. So there's for me, it depends on, am I by myself in the car?
Right.
Or if my husband's in the car with me.
Right, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I must admit, even myself, especially if I'm in a hurry, I've been a little guilty of cutting people off. But I honestly don't go out with the intent of, I want to harm someone. Right. But the thing is, we have to be conscious while we're driving, because things can change in a matter of seconds.
Yes, they can.
You can accidentally cut someone off, but you honestly didn't wake up in the morning and say, hey, I want to cut this person off. But again, so many people are going through so much. It's crazy that we have to even be that careful when we're driving, whether it be on the freeway or off the freeway. I was doing a little bit more research, and I saw that it has to do with, you mentioned that you had to release. A lot of times when we're angry and we have fear, we have adrenaline. So when you're screaming at the top of your lungs and you're honking your horn, it has a lot to do with you, because when you start fussing back, you feel better, like, you woosah. So it's just a matter of staying calm during that time. But with road rage comes a lot of danger, property damage, injuries, of things of that nature. And it's really important that we're teaching teenagers, and I know you have a teen that's going to get ready to drive. What would you say to your teenager?
I would say, put your phone in the trunk. Just put it in the trunk. I think that's just the best proven system. It's hard to ignore. Put the little OTW, I'm on the way, or the memes, or the smiley face, or anything else, or playing your music. Put it in the trunk. Put on the best song that you want to hear, and just let it go. So I would say put up the phone.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, put the phone up.
Now, Richard, do you deal with a lot of younger adults? I know you talked about a certain age group. Or are you finding that teenagers are also engaging in road rage?
Yes, actually, that is the highest group that is engaged in road rage, because there is a lot. There's so much about life that they don't have a grasp of.
Right.
Because if I'm leaving my house, I think about my 3 daughters. I think about my wife. And what will push me to get involved into something that I know if I'm not there, my family. But a teenager doesn't care.
Right.
He has nothing to worry about.
Right. They're thinking
You
about
have
what
to think
pizza to
problem
order.
about your mortgage. If something happens, who will pay the mortgage?
Right.
Or if you go sick, for example, I'm self-employed, right? I own my own business.
Right.
So if something goes wrong, that business will shut down.
Right.
So there are a lot of factors that
That's so true.
come together and will push me to control myself all the time. And I want to say that when you look from the insurance perspective or DMV perspective, or that's the Department of Motor Vehicles,
Right.
the number one rule when it comes to driving is to be defensive. And being defensive is not only, trying to make sure you're driving carefully. No, you're controlling your anger, controlling yourself is part of that defensiveness. So those are the factors. And if you look at the statistics, even California tops when it comes to California holds the number one place when it comes to deaths.
Right.
Related to road rage.
Right. And in California, there is so much traffic. So I would assume that it is a heightened of road rage.
That's right.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about some incidents that happen in California. So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Welcome to our show, The Ladies. The goal of this talk show is to bring to light and discuss issues in the news from 4 different perspectives. We strive to create a consistent, high-quality show that relates, entertains, engages, and builds an honest, transparent relationship with our viewers. We hope that by watching this unique show, you feel uplifted, enlightened, encouraged, and entertained. Our mission is to use the airwaves to bring to life engaging topics, transform our viewers' lives, and bring a sense of fulfillment into every home. Thank you for watching The Ladies, and welcome to the family of 4 ladies with 4 different opinions.
Welcome back to the Ladies Show. We are here talking about road rage, and it's getting very road rageous on this platform because we're getting into a subject matter that's hardly ever spoken about, but it's really important to talk about it. Again, we want to encourage you to like, share, and comment below. Let us know your experiences with road rage and how you've dealt with them. So we talked about some of the signs of road rage, but we want to also talk about the effects of road rage and how they can impact families and drivers and just individuals on their everyday commute. Some of the things that happens as a result of road rage is physical altercation. Have you ever experienced or seen a physical altercation?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
By where we stay, by the Ontario Mills Mall, and we were just coming to a stop sign, and these 2 guys, like almost like it was choreographed, jump out of the car. I thought it was a joke. And my kids were with me. They jumped out of the car and started scrapping in the middle of the street in traffic. And I'm talking about 20 cars in each line during the day. And people were honking, get in the car, cut it out, grow up, you know. And then they were like, you know, the honks, I guess, took them out of their, like you said, they get so caught up, the adrenaline, and they hopped into their cars and took off. But it was during the day, like at 3 o'clock.
It's an adrenaline. It just goes so fast. And one of the primary results of a road rage is a physical altercation. In addition to physical altercation is property damage. A lot of times we don't realize that we're fighting so much, our road rage causes an accident, and then it causes property damage to the city or even to the individual that it happens to. And lastly, legal implications, right, Richard?
That's right.
To give an example of how someone could be legally responsible for road rage.
Basically, as I said, if you look at the U.S. law, it's still a little fluid when it comes to how somebody can be punished. But even though it is considered a crime, but how it can be handled is still a little shaky. I'm just, trying to relate it to a country like Australia where you can go up to 5 years in prison. And you can pay up to 100,000 in fine, 100,000 Australian dollars. So, which means it's clearly defined, but it's still a little fluid. But keeping aside the law or what the law can do with it, look at only what people can actually lose. Yeah, you find somebody, driving a car that is worth about 80,000. It's 80,000 is not a piece of cake.
Wow, not right.
It's not a piece of cake, and sometimes the bodily injury that's involved and road rage too, that some incidents lead to people actually using guns.
Yes.
So it's not a. I would say that it was a wonderful topic that you people decided out. You could talk about because it's something that is so deadly out there. People, you find people who are drunk and they still get involved in road rage. People who have alcohol, they still get involved in road rage. So basically, this is something that we have to actually pay a lot of attention to. And sometimes down the road, if you guys have the opportunity, please still talk about this because it will be very, very helpful, especially the group that is involved, the teenagers.
Right.
Very helpful. Yeah.
Babies.
And it can also increase your insurance costs if you're getting in an accident, so if you're becoming a risk while you're driving.
Your points, because sometimes, we consider insurance is basically, they're just looking for opportunities. Once an incident like that happens, your insurance cost goes up. Yeah, it goes up.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, nobody wants insurance rates. The insurance is already
Ridiculous.
insane. But again, it you know, like I said, the results can be in legal implications, higher insurance, and of course, no one wants that.
That's right.
I remember earlier this year, I don't know if you guys remember, Jonna, earlier this year was a motorcyclist that was involved with a 2-car accident where he actually kicked the car. And when he kicked the car, he made one vehicle go out of control and hit another car that had nothing to do with the roadways, and it was captured on camera. And we'll drop the link so that you all can see what it's like to see road rage in the midst of it happening.
Wow.
And if I can interject here, if you have your focus, I don't think a kick on your car should get you off the rails. So that's where the lack of focus, the focus we're talking about. And besides, get used to, I will tell you something that sounds a little funny. Once I traveled back home to Africa, Cameroon, the first 1 week, my heart is almost falling off because people just honk, pom, 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 all over the place. People are honking unnecessarily. But you know that it's a different scenario here in the sense that, you know, people really honk. And once you yourself, somebody honks, you know, first of all, be yourself, and then you try to find out what is going on. Yeah, because if you react to the honk, then something else might happen. But, you know, be yourself and then try to find out what is going on. And once you get the situation, you know, taken care of in terms of locating what is actually going on. And then if it means giving way, give way. If it means slowing down, slow down. If it means pulling over, pull up. You know, it will guide you once you are yourself. I always bring it back to being yourself.
Right, because honestly, like you say, the only person you can really control is yourself. And that would be your reaction to anything. I mean, that's anything in life, but definitely when it comes to road rage. Because you can go back and forth, but like I said, it can turn into a whole nother animal.
Right.
But
Yourself
back to
and then your car.
Right. Exactly. And is it really worth it? No.
And most of these people, some of them even get involved in this. They die. Basic life insurance they don't even have.
Right.
You know, you can see the implications are it's
a ripple.
It's beyond talking about. There's just a lot that can, you know. Yes.
Interesting.
Because of road rage.
Yeah. So we definitely want to talk about. We talked about road rage, but we want to talk about how to avoid it, and how to prevent it before you get on the road. So I would encourage people, if you're having a bad day, if you know that you're not in the right mental state, to just stay off the roads, right? Just stay off the roads. And if you see someone that's acting erratic while they're driving, call the authorities. Don't try to, you know, a lot of times we want to whip out our cameras and we're taking pictures, but that can also be unsafe as well. So Richard, I want to know, is road rage a criminal offense?
Actually, it's a criminal offense. It should be. I don't know, except, you know, the government is delaying to actually define this clearly. It's a criminal offense. Actually, it is considered a criminal offense because you have property damage that is involved. You have probably death that is involved. And for example, the incident you cited on the 405, the guy was finally arrested, right?
Right. He was arrested.
He was arrested because that's a crime.
Right.
And most often, if an incident comes up that you're part of it, you know, stay there and actually don't leave. Because if you leave, you might be everything might become you. So just stay there and make sure everything is sorted out clearly before you leave. Because from the experience I have as an insurance broker, most incidents that will happen, somebody would actually be the one at fault.
Right.
And the next second or hours later, they'll say, no, I was not.
Right.
So that's why we always say, stay there and have the situation sorted with the right authorities.
Right.
That's right.
And if you ever catch yourself as a victim of road rage, try to stay in the car, call the authorities. And just be mindful while you're driving. So definitely road rage could be something that can change in a blink of an eye, but it can be avoided. We want to thank you guys for joining us today on our road rage segment. Don't forget to like, share, and comment, and we will see you soon. Thank you.
Bye.